This is usually where I come on and rant and rave and bury everyone on the 49ers and explain why everyone stinks and who needs to get fired and things of that nature. But I'm not going to do that today. I actually think this result was as positive as a loss could be. You could look at it on the one hand that the Niners missed an opportunity. They knocked out Drew Brees. They got to Jameis Winston and still couldn't win. And that's a valid take. That's an extremely valid take. Missed opportunity. You knock Drew Brees out of the game, you should win. That being said, the Niners offense was terrible today. Terrible. And I think it was kind of unrealistic to expect it to be much better. There were things you could point to with Kyle Shanahan. Certain calls on 4th and 1. His inability to pick up any type of solution for a nickel blitz still. If you have to start Jerick McKinnon at running back and you just have undrafted free agents behind him, you're behind the 8 ball right away. So did the offense underperform? Yeah, it did. But let's look at it. Let me explain why I think this is a positive result. There's no such thing as a moral victory for the 49ers, and they have to go 5-1 down the stretch to make the playoffs. But I don't think that's out of the question. And here's why. What we saw in this game is that the Niners have a fantastic defense when they're healthy and rested. Fantastic. The defense was just great. Now, they struggle when there's a turnover, when they were expecting to be on the sideline and there's a sudden change and they got to get back out on the field. They're not great at those. And elite defenses are great at those. So it's not elite, but it's right below elite. It's fantastic. I mean, let's step back and look at what the Niners defense did today. It did much better against the Saints than last year. And last year they had Nick Bosa and D Ford and Quan Alexander. No, they didn't. They had Nick Bosa and D Ford. They had their edge rushers. This year, no edge rush. They actually did a better job pressuring Drew Brees, knocked him out of the game. Their coverage is fantastic. Jason Verrett was great. Emmanuel Mosley was great. Dre Greenlaw was fantastic. Tavarius Moore started, was terrific. Jimmy Ward. But the defense was really, really good. And you got to look at those last 2 games as aberrations. The back-to-back road games, the Thursday night game, the defense isn't that bad. The defense is terrific. They're going to get a bye week. They're going to be rested going up against the Rams. They're going to beat the Rams. I'm telling you right now, they're going to beat the Rams in 2 weeks. So when the Niners go back and watch the film, they're going to be very encouraged from the defense. I mean, not only is Robert Saleh great, not only was his game plan terrific, the defense executed across the board. I'm ready. Hold on. I'm ready. Left-handed QB, run a 4-4. I'll grow a beard. Put me in. We tanking. No, I'm telling you guys, the Niners are not tanking. If you come away from this game and think the Niners are tanking, you didn't watch the game. This defense is coming to play. This is a team that no one's going to want to face in 2 weeks after the bye week. The defense is serious. They play very hard. They hit hard. I mean, they almost ended Traquan Smith's career today. It's a very serious defense with a terrific middle linebacker and improving defensive linemen, some pretty good DBs. They finally got their best safety on the field, Tavarius Moore, and the defense played well. He forced a fumble. He seems to always force a turnover when he plays. Okay? So this defense is really good, and they're playing hard. They're not tanking. On offense, you could point to Kyle Shanahan giving the ball to Jerick McKinnon a bunch of times saying, well, he's tanking. I don't see it. I think Kyle Shanahan was trying his best to keep the offense balanced, to protect Nick Mullins and the offensive line. There was nothing the offense could really do in this game. They were outmanned. The defense was also outmanned, but it played really well. So when the bye week comes, if they get Deebo Samuel and Raheem Mostert back, then they're going to have a run game. The Niners competed without a run game against the Saints in New Orleans. Without Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Raheem Mostert. They competed. They were up 10-0. They let the game, they got blown out after that. But what you can see is, I told you before the game, the Niners didn't have the run game to win. they were eventually going to get exposed because they have no run game, and that offensive line, we're going to get to that offensive line in a minute, isn't good enough. They're going to lose. But what they showed is the defense is terrific. Brandon Ayuk is fantastic. Jordan Reed is really good. Ross Dwelly's good. They don't have any running backs right now. The offensive line stinks, but the wide receivers and tight ends are good. If Debo and Raheem Mostert comes back, the offense is going to be good no matter who the quarterback is, even if it's CJ Beathard. And the defense is going to be better because they won't have to be on the field so much. My dad put out that the season's over, and he's got a better sense of professional sports than me. He's been covering professional sports for 45 years. But look, I'm telling you that the Niners, this was not a discouraging game for the 49ers. They can go in to the bye week and be like, you know what? Our defense is terrific. Our defense executed. We lost this game because special teams committed two turnovers and gave up a 75-yard return, and we had no running game. They can tell themselves that, and that's the truth. The special teams turnovers are a little flukish, and if the Niners put Brandon Ayuk back there to return kicks and punts as they should from now on, those issues should go away. Also, the run game should get back on track when Debo Samuel and Raheem Mostert return. I think this team, look, they got to go 5-1. That's a tall order. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I am saying they're going to beat the Rams. They're going to beat the Washington football team in Dallas. That's 3. You got to find 2 more wins somewhere. Is Buffalo beatable? Yes. Is Seattle beatable? Yes. Is Arizona a tough game? Hell yes. It's going to be interesting, but I'm telling you, this is a team that's going to compete to the death after the bye week. They're not tanking. I promise you. They are not tanking. They're going to compete to the death, and they're going to be a tough out for every team they face. Buffalo, LA, Arizona. This was an encouraging loss. And I know there's no such thing as moral defeats in the NFL, but it's like a fight. How you lose matters. Did you get knocked out in the first round, or did you lose on points? The Niners can feel like they didn't get knocked out. They went to the 12th round. They lost on points. They lost most of the rounds, but they didn't get knocked out. They were playing with basically one hand tied behind their back. They're going to be close to full strength after the bye week. Let's see what they can do. I mean, Dee Ford and Nick Bosa aren't coming back. No problem. Defense is still good. I want to see what the offense can look like when their run game comes back because it's a run-first team. A lot of Niner fans like to just crush Nick Mullins after he loses these games like he's supposed to play like a franchise quarterback. That's not the expectation. He's a backup quarterback who makes $750K a year. He's not going to put the team on his back. He can operate the system if he has some talent around him. That's the whole thing. And he's going to have some talent around him in a few weeks. Ayuk is terrific. If Debo comes back and Mostert comes back, I don't think any team's going to want to face the Niners. It's going to be a tough team to face. So that's how and why I think the Niners, they feel encouraged. Listening to them after the game, they didn't sound defeated. What Kyle Shanahan said was, we really played hard. It's true. It's true. They were going up against the Saints. It's a really good team. So 2-week rest, go against the Rams. They're going to win 2 weeks. They're going to win in 2 weeks. Dad, you're wrong. You're writing off this team too soon. You got to look. Just because they lose one game doesn't mean they're going to lose the next.